Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It is September 4th, 2018. We are doing a live Q&A session sponsored by Bitcoin.Live. I am one of 6 teachers and analysts at Bitcoin.Live, something I'm very honored with. Just want to remind you folks, you can find me on Twitter at Big Cheds for those of you who do not follow me yet. So let's just talk a little bit about Bitcoin. We also have some questions from Twitter and also from the Bitcoin.Live site as well, and I'll make sure to answer those for you. Let's just start out with taking a look here at Bitcoin. So in the short term, and I'm using a 12-hour chart here, you can see the price was rejected at the 74.38 level. 74, actually, the exact high is going to be 74.29. So right about 74.29 on the 2nd of September. And we've been trading within that range. Like that was the high point. So all of these candles are inside bars. They're all inside to this one candle. And if we consider this a shooting star, that means you could say that this is still holding true as a signal, as a potential reversal signal. However, it can very easily be broken. The on-bound volume is strong. The RSI hasn't peaked over 70 really here yet, which would suggest it can maybe have another leg up. So I think we have a decent chance to break this resistance. The biggest clue is that after the peak here, after this shooting star, we really didn't see a lot of sell volume. So the bears never really stepped up. So that's something to keep an eye on. Really, we want to watch this level very closely right now. That's a 12-hour. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. And I'm going to zoom out here. So we can see the price is doing a pretty decent job of using this EMA 34, this yellow line, the exponential moving average 34, closed below here briefly, was able to regain it. So roughly speaking, we've been able to hold this yellow line here as support. Why is that important? Well, we can continue to watch that for a potential signal going forward. If we are using a 1-hour chart, we're going to be looking to see when the Bollinger Bands pinch, like they did back here, 12, 13 hours ago, and then the price moved up. In that case, you see how the Bollingers pinched here on the 1st, and the price moved up in that case. Can also move down. So if you're using a 1-hour chart, you're definitely looking at these Bollinger Bands for some type of a trading move. Maybe corresponding with the stochastics RSI or some other kind of short channel indicator. So again, with this 1-hour chart, we could still see that same level, the height of that candle, the 74.29 rather. That is the level we're still watching. We see multiple attempts to break that area. Doesn't mean it's not the exact same price. You're still dealing with what's called an area of supply. There's a lot of supply in this area, and people are looking to sell there. So you're going to see some more negotiation. And the question is, you want to continue to see a rising support line. We're seeing that so far. Talked about it, the EMA 34. So let's just jump around here. Let's take a question. So I'm going to go to Twitter. The first question on Twitter was from someone named Ben Whitaker. It's during consolidation, what more than support and resistance levels are you looking at for confluence, candle patterns, indicators? So essentially, when the price is consolidating, how are you deciding when it's going to finish consolidating, and what direction do you think it's going to go? What clues are you looking for? That's something to talk about. I actually just did a chart for, let's find it. I believe it was Dogecoin or Doggycoin. I was looking at the 12-hour chart, and this is maybe a great example of the question we just asked. So I'm looking at a couple things in this type of a situation. So really the answer is all of the above. I'm looking at patterns. I'm looking at indicators. I'm looking at volume, which is the most important indicator. We can see how a very clear trend line in the volume here. I'm going to draw that to just illustrate my point. So normally when you see this, this will suggest when the volume gets this low, this suggests that the pattern is near completion. All right. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing, what other clues am I looking for? I'm seeing a strong on balance volume here, right? I am seeing the stochastics RSI has mostly reset, and the RSI is down below 70 again. So even from, and we're also holding this 8 EMA line. So I'm really looking at everything, Ben Whitaker, during consolidation. I'm looking for volume for clues. I'm looking at the oscillators to see how they're reacting. Are they showing weakness? Are they showing strength? I'm looking for definitely horizontal support and resistance levels. So clearly on this spinning top, we established the support, the low at 60 Satoshi. So that's one that I'm definitely going to be watching if it comes back down further. But I'm really watching this green line, which has been holding. The price has been able to close above the green line, the 8 EMA. So you essentially could see it flattening out. You could definitely make an argument for a bullish pennant here if you wanted to. You could draw a flagpole. You could draw your higher lows like that, and you could draw your lower highs. Roughly speaking, you could make an argument for a bullish pennant. So I'm really looking at all of the above. I want to just kind of look at every part of it for the strongest signals. Horizontal support is big, and the volume behind it to tell you, where price has been transacted in the past. The second question was, do you have an ETA on your book? I'm writing a memoir about my journey with cancer, and that should be ready between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Let's jump over to Bitcoin.Live. There's some questions from the forum. My friends, hello, Big Cheds. I hope you had a good weekend. Do you believe ELF still has gas left in the tank? I do. I like ELF. Let me just pull it up. And I had put out an alert. Ooh, now it's looking pretty good. I put out an alert for ELF, I think right around 6,000. We're getting very close to my target, which is around 6,600. We might have just hit it. Look, 6,630. So this made a really nice run. I'm going to go ahead and find my alert, and I want to pull that up just so I can remember what I was saying about it. All right, so that's a good question. So for ELF, we had a nice equilibrium pattern. Clearly, we have a series of lower highs and higher lows, and the price had to decide. I kind of anticipate a pivot right around here, which is where we were going to decide either the higher lows were going to break or the lower highs were going to break. And it looks like the bulls won. I said 12-hour equilibrium pattern with strong on balance volume. The pattern is about to decide which way it will break. I like entry here. Profit target of 66.80. So it hit 66.30. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good considering the alert was at 5,700. So that was a nice one. So does ELF still have anything left in his tank? At this point, I would be looking to take profit, given where hopefully you got in based on my alert. But we're going to kind of keep a close eye on this level. This prior resistance level from August 27th, that would be 6,442. So if we can continue to close above this line and also this line, I mean, the recent breakout high from these two levels, I mean, if we can hold anywhere above 6,200, I think you have a fair chance of continuation, given that the RSI is not even 70 yet, and the on-balance volume is as strong as it is. But we got in pretty low here, so I'd be looking to take some profit if you did play the alert on Bitcoin.Live. Let's move on to the next question. Pardon me while I go ahead and pull it up. So the next question from someone named Hunk. What moving average or exponential moving average should one set on a 4-hour, 12-hour daily and on weekly basis for better results? So that's a very interesting question. I think, with so much of with charting, it's personal. It's what works for you. I can tell you there's some moving averages I like to use personally. Uh, let's show you, let me remove, or let me just go to another chart so I can show it a little more clearly. I like to use the 8 and the 34 EMA. And the 8 EMA is this green line, and the 34 EMA is a yellow line. Why 8 and 34? Because some people use the 12 and the 26. I believe those are the default settings on Coinbase. Other people use like an 8 and a 15, a 10 and a 20. You have to find what works for you. Why do I use 8 and 34? It's because they work. If you notice, a lot of my alerts involve moving average crosses, the 8 and 34. I mean, what does it really mean when a short-term moving average crosses a longer-term moving average? It's a momentum indicator. It's kind of a signal that the trend has switched and there's a little bit of momentum behind it, right? It's not just starting, but it's getting going, so to speak. So you have to decide, on longer term charts, daily, weekly. So if you're trading, if you're using a 4-hour chart, you're probably flipping. I would probably use shorter term moving averages. I would use like a 5 and a 10, or you can use what I like 8 and 34 as well. For 4-hour. You have to just find out what works for you. Weekly basis, it really depends on the chart. So if you're really looking, pardon me, if you're looking longer term and you're trying to see where support is, historical support levels are 50 period moving average and the 200 period moving average. And a lot of you guys have probably heard of, Death Cross and Golden Cross, all that stuff. And those are based on the 50 and the 200. That's what that means. Golden Cross, 50 crossing the 200 bullish, Death Cross, 50 crossing the 200 bearish. So those are two big moving averages you can use if you're looking for, like a bigger picture support. It really depends on your style. When you ask me what to use for better results, I think you should experiment and find which moving averages work for you. I like the 8 and the 34. What's nice is you can back test any moving average. You can look at your favorite play, whatever you love to hold or you love to trade, play with the moving averages and go back and see how the price reacts to it. And, maybe go from there. That's one way to play it. Please explain a few minutes on the on-balance volume. Well, on-balance volume is my favorite oscillator. It is essentially, you can think of it as a better version of the accumulation distribution indicator. And with the on-balance volume, what I can determine just by looking at this is how strong or how weak a chart is, or how healthy or how sick it is. It's just when there's buy pressure, you see the on-balance volume spiking. When there's capitulation, when there's people giving up, you see it falling. This is more of like was bullish, but it's hanging in there. This isn't that weak. This one's pretty good, for example. Then let's see the next one. So this shows a big spike in the on-balance volume that actually started to precede the price movement. So you had a bullish divergence, right? So what does that mean? Here's what that means. So we have the price moving, price bottoms out August 22nd, and essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles sideways. If you look at the on-balance volume, really started to spike there. And that was right before the price started to move. So a lot of times people use the on-balance volume, or I do rather. I use it most importantly, I'm going to show you right now. Let me pull this up. I use it most importantly for divergences. Okay, bullish and bearish divergence. A lot of people use RSI, so it says oscillator. A lot of people use RSI. So for example, the price, you'll start to have higher lows in the price. So for example, here, let's just draw it for you. So from here to here, you start to have higher lows, but not really so much in the price, right? Price was sideways. Price is sideways, but the RSI had higher lows. What happened? No bueno. Didn't work out. False signal. I like to wait for the on-balance volume to show me divergence, okay, before I get excited. I like to use RSI for overbought, oversold, and for divergence confirmation, but not by itself. Usually, I think that will get me in trouble. For me, on-balance volume is the most important indicator. other than volume. All right. So that was the last question in Bitcoin Live. Someone says they're too green to know what question to ask. I'm always learning from the Q&As, taking notes from them, helps my education, and I appreciate the gold nuggets. Jennifer Christie, I appreciate that. We're happy to have you. If you have any questions, if I can help you, please reach out and let me know. So those are the first questions. I believe I've got into most of them in front of me. Let's just kind of zip around here. Let's take a look on Binance. And let's just take a look at maybe some of the more active charts that we've had recently. All right. So EOS has had some nice volume. Why don't we take a look and see what EOS has been doing? We are looking at the 12-hour chart on EOS. I clearly have some levels marked off from another video. And why are they marked off? We're looking at the lows from the end of July 31st. It was an area that held support. That support became resistance. Unable to break above it. We were rejected here end of August, and at beginning of September broke above it, but now we are back below this important level. So bears are back in control until the price can maintain a candle close above this level for at least convincingly two candles above this 9050 level. So we've still got some ways to go. It may turn out that the price can fight, that the bulls can fight and maintain higher lows, and that the price can continue sideways for a while rather. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll look at this range here. Roughly, this is an important level to watch to see if this support can hold, which was the prior peak from August 17th. So let's keep an eye on this range. Next, let's take a look at BCC. I believe that's Bitcoin Cash on Binance. Let's take a look at it here on Bitfinex. So Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash had a really nice candle here, 1st of September. Some nice buy volume behind it. The follow-up candle, not so much. We had that large upper shadow. This is a high wave candle, long upper and long lower candle. We've seen some nice fighting back by the bulls, but we're still within, you could also call this a shooting star. We're still within this shooting star's candle range, very similar to Bitcoin. Pardon me, to Bitcoin, where Bitcoin has yet been unable to break this level. Probably will test it, looks like here pretty soon. So you would have to imagine if Bitcoin breaks bullish, probably Bitcoin Cash will. I'm seeing strength in the on-balance volume. RSI is showing some nice consolidation. It's cooling off, higher lows. Stochastic RSI wants to turn bullish, but it needs some time. So I would say we'll go ahead and keep an eye on that. Let's take a look at ONT. I have not looked at that one in a little while. ONT. All right. So clearly this level needs to be adjusted. Let's take a look at this support level. Really want to watch these higher lows. We want to make sure we can maintain them. We clearly have we want to have higher lows. Right now we have lower highs. August 18th, August 29th, September 1st, yada, 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 higher lows. So bulls have a chance to reverse the trend here. There's a couple nice, easy trends to watch. We don't want to watch this on balance volume. It's a very rough idea of what the downtrend looks like, but we can essentially see almost a wedge or a symmetrical triangle here in the on balance volume. So we should kind of keep an eye on that to see where that breaks. That would, if the price can hold here, if the bulls can rally here at the lower Bollinger in that 3100 level, this might actually be an interesting chart. If not just for a short trade, probably to the 3600 level. So I could see this go 31 to 36, and then you'd have to watch it go from there. So keep an eye on that one, my friends. Nano has some decent volume. Let's take a look at what Nano is doing. Nano's kind of similar here. We have a series of higher lows. Pardon me. We have a series of lower highs, and we have higher lows. So this is going to decide pretty soon, actually. This is a nice equilibrium pattern. Lower high, lower high, lower high, higher low, higher low. So this actually looks kind of interesting. This is probably going to decide here pretty soon. I'd say in the next 12 hours. We're not seeing a lot of volume. So either bulls or bears are going to step in here soon. You know, we're seeing the Bollinger Bands starting to pinch. We have the exponential moving averages, moving average, the EMA 34 as support, lower Bollinger Band. I think this one's definitely worth keeping an eye on. So I would be keeping an eye on Nano. Let's just kind of quickly zoom over here to crypto coin market cap and just kind of take a look at how everything looks. Clearly, even a layman can see here on the 1-day chart, 7-day chart rather, Bitcoin has been on a nice little run. You can kind of see many other things have been as well. Monero, Neo, you know, quite a few. Bitcoin. Oh, that's some clever branding. So if you're ever interested in, you know, you're looking for some ideas, CoinMarketCap is a great website to check out. Look at Stratus. I mean, that's a breakout. I tweeted this chart earlier. I mean, look at that. So that guy's just taking off. So if you're bored, go to CoinMarketCap. You can get a lot of good ideas there. You can kind of click on anything and see what it does. For example, what's Pundi? Pundi X, NPXS. You click on that. You can kind of see, you know, get some information about it. You can click on historical data. You can see what kind of volume it's been having. You know, so just all in all, this is a good website if you want to get started. And with that, let's just take a quick look at Bitcoin and kind of review what we've talked about before. I am watching some key levels here. I am watching the highs of the September 2nd candle, which is going to be 74.29. We are still trading within that range. Normally, I would be short-term bearish because we haven't been able to break that level, but I'm not. I am seeing an absence of sell volume. So I'm not really seeing any sell volume. The RSI really hasn't cracked 70 yet. So that's encouraging. So and the on-balance volume, very strong. So I think we probably see a bullish break here. You know, I guess we'll have to check back and see if I was right. But with that, I want to thank everyone for joining. If you're not a member of Bitcoin.Live, I'd encourage you to check it out. We now have monthly options available. And if you are a member, we love having you. Please reach out to me if I can help you in any way. And with that, my friends, I will bid you adieu. Take care.